Right? An inference is clues or details from a text, or it could be things besides a text, things like a movie, maybe even a song. But it has to be, you have to have some source. Okay? A clue or detail from the source. Throw in what you know, or someone in the last class said prior knowledge. Those two things combined get you your inference. Okay? And as we already stated, an inference is anything you can find to be true that's not explicitly stated in your text or by your source. What, Colton?
And this has to do with this?
Yep, we'll talk about that in just a moment.
Okay.
So inferences are anything not explicitly stated, but something you still can know to be true. So, for instance, think about your mother. Okay, everyone's got their mother in their mind. Todd, you got your mom?
Yeah, I got my mom.
So, Todd's walking home from school, walks in the door. Todd sees his mom. She's got a real angry look on her face, very upset. Okay, maybe she's grumpy. She doesn't tell Todd she's grumpy, but based on Todd's clue or details from his source, his mother, and based on his prior knowledge, his experience with his mother, Todd knows she's grumpy. Even though she doesn't tell Todd, I'm grumpy. Todd can make an inference about his mother. Does that make sense to you guys?
Tell her she's grumpy when she goes to play. I'm just kidding. That doesn't happen.
Oh, that
Happens at my house.
Todd, that would be an inference too, right? She doesn't tell you she's grumpy. She just throws something.
Just for the record, that doesn't happen. I was just trying to be blunt.
It's abuse.
That doesn't happen.
Okay.
My mom's nice.
So we covered inferences.
Well,
Scary.
she's scary. I'd rather fight my dad 5 times before I get in an argument with my mom for once.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. In addition to your inferences, guys, I want you to also think about somebody's point of view. Point of view and bias. Okay, this is something you encounter all your texts,
One side of it.
everything you read. Well, what is a point of view, Colton?
Point of view, like which,
What's another way you could say it?
isn't it like third person and like, I don't know.
First person, second person, third person?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Those are different point of views. But in addition to point of view, we can also say it's a different perspective
Way of looking at it.
or way of looking at it. All mean the same thing, right? Those three things, way of looking at it, point of view, perspective, all mean the same thing. So this is what you want to look for in your texts when you're reading. Point of views and bias. You guys know what a bias is? What does it mean to be biased or have a bias? Yeah.
You favor a particular opinion or side due to history.
Okay. So certain circumstances, something you've encountered in your past, causes you to favor one side over the other. Okay, good. I want you guys to think about this, point of view and bias, and remember, point of view and bias, something that's present in everything you read and everyone you encounter. So your history book, your science book, all your instructors at Grand Haven, if you decide to go to college, all your professors, they will all have their biases and they will all have their point of views. So something I want to underscore today is that that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily bad, but you do need to recognize everybody and everything. Todd has a bias, right? Well, keep that in mind as you're reading. Speaking of point of view, what do you guys see in this picture?
A woman.
Keith.
Quality bill.
Okay.
Cruel, yeah.
So like an older woman?
Hey, I just followed the bill.
An older woman? What do you see, Todd?
Oh, wait. Is it just me or is there some guy on the thing like looking up at her trying to eat a pen or something?
Let's just stick with
See that?
woman.
Definitely is.
I see that.
I don't see it. Wait.
I see it right.
Let's just stick with woman. We got old woman from Keith. Anybody see a young woman?
I don't see any features that make her specifically physically old, so yeah, I think.
Okay.
Well, there's two sides.
Will's Rockhead.
You ready? You want to do this? I'm sorry.
So young woman.
Young woman, eyelash, nose looking away, chin, ear, hair, hat, coat, necklace. See?
Wait, point that out.
Yeah,
That was
I
her
can't
chin. That was her chin, though.
See, that's
You
why
ready?
I saw Cruella de Vil and like her hair is
Hang
black
on.
and white.
No. You're looking the wrong way. Ear, eyelash as she's looking away.
I just don't see it.
Keith, you see it yet?
Again, that's the person I was seeing.
No.
I was seeing her and then like
Ear,
That's hair going down.
Exactly.
eyelash.
That's what I was seeing is what I'm seeing.
You're saying that's an old woman?
I'm saying that looks like Cruella de Vil.
She has like
Cruella,
Yeah, that's
like,
what I
and
was
then, like,
saying.
I like
It's
her
the
black
hair.
and white.
What?
Okay. Do you guys see the older woman?
I don't.
All right. Nose, eye,
I see that.
mouth,
Oh my goodness!
Ew! Oh, I see it now! That makes me uncomfortable.
nose,
That's when I
eyes, mouth.
Oh, that's when I saw
Why
it.
you
I
thought-
How can I see that? That is so cool.
Everybody see both of them now?
Yeah.
She's looking this way.
Which one you missing?
I get it.
Old?
Yeah. Shoot, now I
Nose, right here. That's her nose. That's her eye. That's her other eye. Here's her mouth. She's kind of got her head tucked down in like this.
I like the younger one better. Yeah, me too.
Does that make sense? Yes. The younger one's facing away. The older one's got her chin down. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see it.
There we go.
So you guys, looking at the exact same picture, right? Exact same source, could come to two different conclusions.
Which one do you see?
Which one do you see,
I
Cole?
see the old one. That's all I see.
You only see the old one?
Okay.
Yeah.
Take off
I-
the
just-
neck.
Now,
Up the neck.
here's what you've got.
I've been looking at it.
Up the neck.
See, that's the jawbone. So, like, she's looking like this. So you see the jawbone
Right.
and the ear?
I thought that was not.
No. Picture it as an ear real quick.
Okay.
Eye is looking away with the lash sticking out.
Right.
This is her cheek, like right here.
Okay, but I don't see a representation of a young woman's face.
How?
Because she's looking away.
You can't see her face because she's looking away. You're not supposed to see her.
But she's young because she's not wrinkled at all. She's just,
And her chin isn't sagging.
yes, her chin isn't sagging.
Man, her nose doesn't look like she got socked in.
Yes. She may have been in a fight, Todd, possibly on top of the Sears Tower. Just saying.
So do you guys see, or do you understand how you can look at that from a different point of view or a different perspective and get a totally different interpretation?
Is there another picture you can show us?
I don't have another picture. There are other pictures out there.
It's a little better.
Well, I don't have another one for you. But this was supposed to illustrate how important point of view is and what it does to when not only when you look at pictures, but when you're reading your text or when you're trying to read something in the newspaper. This is how important point of view is. It can make something look totally different depending on your point of view. So what we're going to do next, in your packet that you got, the first two paragraphs, take maybe like a minute or two and read those first two paragraphs.
The company and policy on the U.S. on the use of technology, those two,
The death row inmates,
Where's that?
all the
right at the top.
top
Okay,
the
okay.
smaller paragraph.
Yep.
So why can't you just tell them without all the faces?
Okay, anyone need more time on those 2 paragraphs? No? Okay. So what I'm going to do next, using those 2 paragraphs, I want to walk you guys through an inference you might make from the text. So, here's that format we were talking about. Here's the basic template for making an inference, right? You take your detail, you take your item from the text, combine that with something you already know or your prior knowledge. That's how you get your inference. So, our detail, this is the second sentence in the text talking about how expensive it is for taxpayers, for inmates on death row. What you can get from this, in terms of what you already know, people are often critical of government spending on programs that they don't support. Okay? I think this is already prior knowledge that you guys have. Right? I think you could plug something different in here besides death row, and it might be something you hear about either on the news or at home. Do you guys know what the Affordable Care Act is?
Yes. That's for health insurance, right?
Good, health insurance. More commonly known as Obamacare.
Yeah.
So, you hear a lot of people, right, who are often critical of Obamacare because it's something they oppose politically. So, this is something I think you guys can connect with, some prior knowledge you have that can help in your inference. So what could you take away from this in the text? From this part of the text and this part of knowledge, this piece of knowledge that you have. That people generally don't like to spend money on things they don't support. People will be mad. What does it say about the author? He opposes. Yes, good, Faisal. Very good. So the author opposes the death penalty. Do you see how, if you look in your paragraphs, he never says this explicitly. He never says, I am against the death penalty, or I oppose the death penalty. But through inference, you can determine that the author is opposed to the death penalty. You guys see how that works? Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So, now that I walked you through that, look down at the next part, the company policy. Using the same template, the same idea, I'd like you guys to try to fill in the rest of this chart. Okay, I've already given you the detail or clue to take out of the text. All I want you to do is connect it to something you know already and then make your inference. Okay, you only got to do it for those 3 details. And skip questions 2 and 3. So there's like a short answer, 2 and 3, just don't do those. Just complete the chart. Try to make inferences based on those details.
Just complete number 1.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I'll give you maybe like 10 minutes or so. Try to complete that chart.
Do you want us to like restate what's in the first one? Or I don't get what you mean by that either. Like, are we just supposed to reword this?
Well, you're supposed to use this and try to connect it to something different. Something different, but also still connected.
Oh.
So like, we'll go back to the mother. You see a
Yeah.
detail is that she's got which is that.
You know, I probably can find one.
So when you combine those two, your inference is
Fair enough. Let me see what I can find.